Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktade O Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Nashtapaye Shavareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Duttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, verse number 45. It's chantable. Hansaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya. Everyone's got their phones on it?
Hansaya Dhara.
No. No, at least two other people.
45.
Yeah, 6, 9, 45. Hansaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya. Hold on.
Hansaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya.
Krishnaya Mrishta Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Krishnaya Mrishta Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Sat Sangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramat
Satsangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramata.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste.
Hare Krishna.
Hamsaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirakshakaya.
Hamsaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya.
Krishnaya Mrishta Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Krishnaya Mishra Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Satsangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramata.
Satsangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramata.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste.
Hamsaya Dhara Nilayaya Nidikshakaya.
Hamsaya Dhara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya.
Krishnaya Mrishta Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Krishnaya Mrishta Yashase Nirupakramaya.
Satsangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramata.
Satsangrahaya Bhavapanta Nijashramata.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste.
Ante Parishtagataye Haraye Namaste. Hamsaya. Unto the most exalted and pure. Pavitram Paramam, the supreme pure. Dahra, in the core of the heart. Nilayaya, whose abode. Nirikshakaya, supervising the activities of the individual soul. Krishnaya, unto the super soul, who is a partial manifestation of Krishna. Mirishta Yashase, whose reputation is very bright. Nirupa Kramaya, who has no beginning. Sat Sangrahaya, understood only by pure devotees. Bhava Panta Nija Ashrama Apto. Being obtainment of the shelter of Krishna for persons within this material world. Ante, at the ultimate end. Parishtakate, unto him who is the ultimate goal, the highest success of life. Hare, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned souls. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Lord Krishna, your reputation is bright and illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees, because you are easily accessible to the pure and truthful. When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at your lotus feet, after roving throughout the material world for many millions of years, they attain the highest success of life. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer our respectful obeisances at your feet. Purport. The demigods certainly wanted Lord Vishnu to relieve their anxiety, but now they directly approach Lord Krishna. For although there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, Krishna descends to this planet in his Vasudeva feature for the purpose of Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkritam, protecting his devotees and annihilating the miscreants, demons, or atheists always disturb the demigods or devotees, and therefore Krishna descends to punish the atheists and demons and fulfill the desire of his devotees. Krishna, being the original cause of everything, is the Supreme Person above even Vishnu and Narayana, although there is no difference between these different forms of the Lord. As explained in Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 46, Dirparche eva hidashantaram abhyupetya dipayate vivrite hetu samana dharma yastadrigeva hicha vishnutaya vibhati govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajan. Krishna expands himself as Vishnu, the way a bright candle kindles another. Although there is no difference between the power of one candle and another, Krishna is compared to the original candle. The word Mrishta Yashase is significant herein because Krishna is always famous for relieving his devotee from danger. A devotee who has sacrificed everything for the service of Krishna and whose only source of relief is the Lord is known as a Kinchana. As expressed in the prayers offered by Queen Kunti, the Lord is a Kinchana Vita, the property of such a devotee. Those who are liberated from the bondage of conditioned life are elevated to the spiritual world, where they achieve 5 kinds of liberation: Sayuja, Salokya, Sarupya, Shashti, and Samipya. They personally associate with the Lord in 5 mellows: Shanta, Dhasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. These rasas are all emanations from Krishna. As described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the original mellow, Adirasa, is conjugal love. Krishna is the origin of pure and spiritual conjugal love. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I first seek the blessings of all the SnB devotees, especially Srila Radhanath Maharaj. I feel like a glowworm in front of the sun right now. Extremely embarrassed and humbled by my position. Also, Arjun Prabhu and Prabhu. Your grandfather blessings will be very helpful in this dangerous situation. Of course, and all the blessings of these SnB devotees. Anyone knows me, I'm generally a ball of confidence, I might even say pride, but in front of Vaishnavas you feel extremely, you start to feel your actual constitutional position. very cute. So please bless me. I'm a little nervous. So the demigods are concluding their prayers here to Lord Vishnu. And it says here, Hrunksaya Dara Nilayaya Nirikshakaya. So they're saying the Lord is like a swan. So where is this swan residing? Dara Nilayaya, he is residing in the lake of the heart. And Nirikshakaya, he is observing the desires of all the living entities in that lake. His special position here is that he is Hrunksaya, which means he's a swan. So the special quality of a swan is that in a mixture of milk and water, it can extract the milk. So the image of a swan means he can take the essence of something. That is the idea here. And one who is able to take the essence. So this is both our good fortune and also can be our undoing, depending on the nature in which one approaches the Supreme Lord. If one has the mentality of a Duryodhana, then this quality of the Lord as Hamsaya is one's undoing. And if one has the mentality of Vidura's wife, then this is one's good fortune, one's solace, that Krishna is Hamsaya. You know the story from Mahabharata, when Duryodhana has made a very nice pandal with all wonderful foodstuffs and entertainment. And generally for the living entities, because we are Anadi Bahirmukha, we are externally orientated for a time without beginning, so we usually take external things very seriously, and essences we tend to kick out. Anything essential we don't take seriously, and anything external we take very seriously. Natevi du Swartakatemi Vishnu. Darashriyaye Bahir Arthamarina. Prahlad Maharaj is also saying like this. Natevi du Swartakatemi Vishnu. That what is one's true self-interest? It is Vishnu. But due to their ashaya, due to spoiled hearts, Bahir Arthamarina, we're taking very seriously or ascribing value only to external things and not to essential things. So if someone makes a big Pandal program for you, how would you feel? Ecstatic, isn't it? My dear Prabhuji, I made all of this for you. Even, it doesn't have to be a Pandal program, it just has to be a simple compliment, and we lost in revelry for the whole day. How this Prabhu has told this about me. That is the nature of conditioned mind. Bahir Arthamanina, Bahir Mukha, we're externally orientated. So Duryodhana has made this big Pandal program, nice entertainment, so many food stuff, and Krishna walked right past it, didn't pay any attention. And then he went to the house of Vidura, and Vidura's wife opened the door. And she was in ecstasy seeing Krishna, and in her ecstasy, she wanted to offer something to Krishna. So she offers Krishna bananas. But in her ecstasy, she didn't realize that she was opening the banana peel and throwing out the banana and offering Krishna the pill. Okay, first time, of course, naturally when you're in front of a great personality, the foolishness tends to come out. Not that she was foolish, but at least in my own experience. I'm remembering a mistake I made even with Srila Ranath Maharaj, and I had to say, Maharaj, usually I'm more intelligent than this. So generally one feels oneself embarrassed or foolish in front of a superior. That is a natural etiquette also. Anyway, hers was not just a foolishness, it was an ecstasy. And so she's peeling up the banana, throwing out the banana, and giving Krishna the banana peel. Not one time, but 3 times. And Krishna's ecstatically taking that pill also. This is ecstatic nectar. I was experiencing the pill as nectar because he is Hamsaya. Because he's a swan, he can see the essential quality. He can see the bhava. Whereas with Duryodhana, he can also see the essential quality. So this quality of the Lord as Hamsaya is both our solace and also our undoing. If we approach the Lord with duplicitous hearts, then this quality of the Lord will be our undoing. But if we approach the Lord with genuine hearts, then he can take the essence, the essential thing. Actually, this should give us great solace as conditioned souls dealing with our psychophysical natures, which in the age of Kali may not be so bright, may be full of darkness. Many times, devotees oftentimes find themselves in a state of depression, seeing their situation. Krishna speaks of this in the Bhagavatam. Jata Shradha Makatasu Nivena Sarakarmasu Veda Dukatmakam Kaman Parityage Api Anishwaraha. It's one of my go-to verses when I need a little bit of uplift to my spiritual life. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Krishna said, Jata Shradha Makatasu, that my devotee, he is awake in faith in my narrations. All right, check. And And everyone's got to check for that. You have faith in the narrations of Krishna? Yes? No?
Yes.
Otherwise you'd not sit here. Jeta Shradama Katasu Nirvana Sarva Karmasu. And they can see the emptiness of the material program. This is all empty. Check, we have at least a little, may not be a deep realization, but there's something there. Veda Dukatma Kam Kama, and they know that the sense gratification program leads to suffering. Also check, Prityage, we're also trying to give up this material world for the pleasure of Krishna. Adhiya Nishura, although not able to do so fully because of not being in control. The nature of the material world is that we're often forced by our karmic destinies into situations that are not desirable, are not devotional. So in the purport to this verse, Krishna goes on to say that my devotee should remain happy and continue to do his bhajan, his devotion with faith and determination. And even though he is sometimes engaged in unfavorable ways on account of the force of his karmic situation, he sincerely repents such situations and continues to worship Krishna. So in the commentary there, our devotees have written a very beautiful commentary there, saying that a devotee should not become overly depressed, seeing their conditioned predicaments, or the predicaments they're often entangled with because of their conditioned nature. And in context of the verse today, this is because Krishna is Hamsaya. He is a swan who can see the essence. So when our core desire is a genuine thing, Krishna can extract that genuine thing even in the midst of the horrible psychophysical situations internally and also externally. Therefore, it is as a discipline of caution, when you see devotees struggling, that because of this bahir arthamanina, because of this bahir mukha, the external orientation towards reality, when you see devotees struggling, the tendency is to write a commentary on that and post it on the Facebook. Or these different formats are there. I'm not going to name any websites, but we all know what those websites are. And you write a commentary about devotees who are in a difficult situation. But actually, because the Lord is Samsaya, only He knows what is the core desire in those devotees' heart. And you can make a very grave mistake and end up ruining your spiritual life on account of aparad, because of not being Hamsaya, because of being externally oriented. So anyway, this is very inspiring to hear this about Krishna. And one should find themselves particularly uplifted as a conditioned soul who may be struggling with their anarthas, that Krishna is Hamsaya. And one thing that is very beautiful, how do we get a core desire so that Krishna will take that essence? So that beautiful verse is there from the gopis. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavibiritam kalpashapaham Shravana Mangalam. Shravana Mangalam, this Tavakatamritam, this nectar of Krishna Katha, tapta jivanam, it removes the afflictions of the jivas and it gives them life. And then it says Shravana Mangalam, it is auspicious to hear. Why is it auspicious to hear? So our commentators say it is auspicious to hear because it gives spiritual desire. The desire that was presently not there before hearing, before meeting the devotees, what type of desires we had. They're all called unmentionables. And after hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, then you get a spiritual desire. And from that spiritual desire, Krishna can take, oh, this is the essential thing. And so this becomes our great hope. This hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is our great hope. Therefore, our movement, Prabhupada said many times in his books, that ISKCON is to give people the opportunity to hear. ISKCON is to give people the opportunity to hear. Because by hearing what happens, they get spiritual desires. And then Krishna is Hamsaya. Oh, this is the essential thing. And then even in the midst of all sorts of contamination and so on, He will take that essence and He will lift the soul up to the spiritual world. One is also reminded of that verse from the Bhagavatam depicting Putana approaching Krishna as a mother. And He took that as the essential thing and elevated her to the position of a wet nurse. So this is very inspiring. If we had only heard that Krishna lives in the lake of the heart observing all of our desires, it would be very embarrassing. It would be very embarrassing. But we hear that He's in the lake of the heart observing the desires as a Hamsa. So that is very inspirational. It gives great hope to the soul. So then the demigods say Krishnaya. They specifically play to Krishna. So while they're specifically playing to Krishna, Vishnu is in front of them. And the commentators say, actually, they had requested yesterday's verse, you please kill the demon immediately. But Krishna is independent, so they didn't know. Vishnu, Krishna is independent. So they didn't know what he was going to do, so they just started saying Krishna. So why they specifically call out Krishna's name? So that is also mentioned by Srila Prabhupada here in the purport in our commentators. Because Mrishta Yasha say, he is, well, this is how Prabhupada translates it, it's very nice, whose reputation is very bright. I wish I could also say that. Whose reputation is very, what is Krishna's reputation bright for? For being the savior of his devotees and all types of conditions. In the first canto, chapter 8, we hear about Ashwatthama after attacking the 5 boys of the Pandavas. Again, he threw a chakra at the Pandavas later on. School of hard knocks, he doesn't learn his lesson. And when he threw the chakra at the Pandavas, they did not have enough time to respond to the chakra. Not the Brahmastra? Yes, he threw the Brahmastra at them. So the Pandavas didn't have enough time to respond to it. So Krishna immediately took out his chakra and disposed of the Brahmastra weapon. Prabhupada comments, this is in the first canto, chapter 8, that technically speaking, the war had not yet finished. So according to Krishna's promise, he should not have used his chakra. But Krishna was more concerned, he is known as Bhakta Vatsala, and he was more concerned with maintaining that reputation as the savior of his devotees and not a strict moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. He didn't want to be known in that particular way. Therefore, Konteya Pratijani me Bhakta Vinashati. Arjuna, you only declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. Arjuna may say, Krishna, why only I should declare it? You can declare it yourself. You're declaring so many things in the Bhagavad Gita. You declare surrender unto me. You declare, why only you declare it? Because people know I will break my word sometime in certain conditions. What are those conditions? Those conditions where my devotees are in danger. But one thing I'm also famous for is that I always maintain the vow of my devotees. And so if you declare it as my devotee, they know very well that I will see to it that whatever you say shall become true. And so Minister Yasha say Krishna's reputation is very bright because of his saving the devotees. So of course the purport here, the demigods are saying, so Krishna, you're very famous for this, so you also save us. So they play to Krishna in this way. Samgrahaya. The Supreme Lord is one who is known by the pure devotees of the Lord. He is understood only by the devotees because it is only unto the devotees that he reveals himself. Only by bhakti can Krishna be known. And because devotees perform that bhakti without any duplicity, because they are non-envious persons. They're non-envious, they're matsarya because they are also satam. Satam means they can see, actually Jiva Goswami gives this meaning, they can see the underlying essential essence of everything. Therefore they are not envious. And they do this paramadharma, this bhakti yoga, without duplicity. That means their services is just for pleasing Krishna, it's not for any other reason they are serving Krishna. So for those purposes, sadhyo hridi avarudite atrukati vishushushavi takshana. Then simply the desire to hear about Krishna, Krishna becomes captured. Even before they hear about Krishna, just the desire to hear about Krishna, then Krishna is captured in their hearts. So Sat Samgrahaya, he is one who is understood by the devotees, because it is unto the devotees that he reveals himself in fullness and completeness. Bhavapanta Nija Ashrama Apto. For those who are on the path of birth and death, Bhavapanta. Bhavapanta means samsara, so the living entities in this world. He is the Nija Ashrama Apto. He is the shelter, the ultimate shelter for persons on that path. Just like Krishna says in chapter 9, verse 3. How's that verse go? Ashada Dhanam Purusha, Dharmasasya Pranantapa, Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mritu Samsaravartam. He says, for those who have who are faithless, without faith in this bhakti dharma, then they do not attain me, but they continue on the path of birth and death. And for those who have faith in this Krishna, even not as their worshipable Ishtadeva, but they understand that only by this worship of Krishna can I attain any of my transcendental goals. Whether they be a Gyani or a Yogi, or whatever they may be, only by worshiping Krishna can I attain any of my goals. Then, unto those persons, they can attain Krishna in any one of his different features. So for those who are on the path of birth and death, he is the actual shelter. Nowadays, as we've been hearing the last couple of days, people are trying to find so many different shelters. They want to put shelter in their governments, they put shelters in their family members. But finally, the real affliction is in the heart. It's not an external thing, it's an internal thing. The real affliction is there in the heart, and it is Krishna only who can relieve that affliction. Just like Prahlad Maharaj was praying, we were mentioning this verse yesterday also. Yasma priya viyoga samyoga jana, shokapina sakala yonishu dahima. He says in this material world, everyone's heart is burning in the fire of lamentation. Shoka apnina. There's a fire in the heart. And why that fire is there? Because that which is not dear to them, there is some yoga, complete union. And that which is very dear to them, there is separation. You have some examples of this you can probably think of in your mind. That which is not dear to you. Of course, sometimes you may think it's another devotee, but in the real sense, what is not there, there's complete union with that. I was talking, when we mentioned this verse the other day, we were talking to someone, and we were talking about truck driving as a job. So truck driving is a very difficult job. And most of the time you're on the road, you don't even get time to spend with your family. So that which is very dear to people like their family members, there's viyoga. And that which is not very dear to them is exhausting truck driving. We were talking about it in the context of almost being killed by trucks. When you're driving a road trip and the trucks are going off the road. But that which is not very dear to them, there is some yoga. Most of their hours will be spent in this way, not a very happy life. So this affliction in the heart, how does the fire become removed? Only by taking shelter of Krishna. He is Bhava Panta Nija Ashrama Apto. Only when one attains the shelter of Krishna, then they become peaceful. Another verse from Mother Devaki, she is saying that in this world of birth and death, everyone is running away in fear of the snake of death. Where are they running? All over the universe. Sometimes they go to Brahmaloka, sometimes down. But wherever they're running, they're not finding any shelter from the snake of death. But when they attain your lotus feet by the association of devotees, in Prabhupada's translation, then they are sleeping in full mental peace. And death itself is fleeing from them. Yes, people are so much in anxiety where they find shelter that they cannot sleep at night. But the devotees are sleeping in full mental peace. Sometimes in the bottom class also. We sleep at nighttime, and we sleep during japa, and we sleep in Bhagavatam, and full mental peace, and no disturbance. Because of taking shelter of Krishna. I often joke like this. This is meant to be a joke, don't mind. But I often joke like this, that when you see a new person coming and they're becoming more serious about devotional service, the test is that they're sleeping in the Bhagavatam class. If they're sleeping in the Bhagavatam class, that is a genuine devotee. Whereas the others, when they're very attentive, you wonder, I don't know if they're really taking shelter yet. Anyway, that's a personal observation over the years. Don't mind. It's just it's a realization. So when one takes shelter of Krishna, they can sleep in full mental peace. They become happy. He is at Nija Ashrama. He is at actual ashram, the actual shelter. Sometimes it is seen also people come to the ashram thinking they will get relief from the material afflictions. But the ashram is actually a situation that is favorable for taking the real shelter, the shelter of Krishna. Otherwise, your mind and senses are always there. I was talking to a beloved god brother in Chaupadi many years ago, and he would say how it's extraordinary that even though we have all facilities, still devotees sometimes able to go away. I said it's like that everywhere because we have mind and senses. So the mind and senses are always causing affliction. So the ashram creates a situation by which we can take the ashrama of Krishna. Only then we will become peaceful. Ante parishtagataye haraye namaste. At the end of life, ante, if we are successful in taking the shelter of Krishna, then he is parishtagataye. Parishtagataye means it is he who rewards all goals of life. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport there are different types of transcendent goals. Sayuja mukti, sarupya mukti, different types of mukti are there. It is Krishna who awards all those goals at the end of life for those who take shelter of him. For those who desire various types of loving relationships with Krishna, it is also that Krishna who rewards those results. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya dharatya mam eva ye prapadyante mayami tantarantite. As Krishna says, only those who take shelter of me can cross over this material energy. So sometimes people think that if ignorance is our problem, as it's often articulated in these wisdom texts, if ignorance is our problem, then knowledge is the solution. But the devotees, we protest that. Knowledge is not alone a solution. Even those with knowledge, it is seen that they become entangled in life. So the real solution is Krishna. Only this Krishna will actually reward us our transcendent objectives, our goals. So in this way, of course, in context, what is the goal of the demigods? You please kill this ritual sword quickly. Don't take too long, as our acharyas have commented there. And so Krishna, being very kind, he will reciprocate with that desire also. And he will instruct the demigods. It's coming up, very nice verses, where he says, he's going to say, these prayers are like, beautiful. These prayers are absolutely beautiful, but why are you such material fellows? He's going to chastise them for being a little materialistic, and then he satisfies their desire, and he gives them the knowledge by which they can create a weapon to kill the sword. So that's my attempt at the class. Please forgive any discrepancies. I would like to open up the discussion for Maharaj, if you want to say. Anyone seeing the devotees. Any questions or comments? No?
Difficult to comment.
Huh?
Difficult to comment on such a perfect presentation. Thank you so much.
So we see two instances of devotees coming before the Lord for darshan with what appears to be mixed motives. We see Daksha, we were just reading about Daksha, approaching the Lord, having a darshan of the Lord, and then complicating his life and that of so many others by offenses. But we also have the narration of Kardama Muni, who when he receives the darshan of the Lord, he asks, he says, what I'm asking is unworthy, what I'm asking. Krishna smiles and says, yes, I know, I've made all arrangements, it's going to be forthcoming. And we see that the narrations are very different. Can you speak a little bit about how it is that these two personalities have such different results from their mixed devotion?
I don't remember Kardama Muni's example so much. I have to go back and study it.
Yes, for a while.
Yeah, I remember that part. But he asks for a wife because he is a Prajapati. He's a progenitor of the universe, so he has a service to perform. And that desire is also the desire of the Lord. So Brahma himself also has similar desire like Kardama Muni as a Prajapati, a progenitor of the universe. So their desires are also aligning with the desire for the Lord for procreation. And therefore, the Lord is also satisfied with them. He also speaks in this way, of expressing his satisfaction with them for such desires. Also, in the case of Daksha, you mentioned Daksha here also, he is also a progenitor. And so, the Lord is also satisfied with him. The thing is that because those desires, because they're mixed devotees, so their desires often get complicated. And so their desires take them into the wrong direction. Just like there's this verse from the Bhagavatam says, when the soul is being accosted by sense gratification, desires in the mind, then you should be like an expert horseman. So the horseman, he knows if he holds it too tight, the horses will go wild, and then the chariot will flip. So he has to know how to release the reins a little bit, satisfy certain desires in a strategy to finally subdue the mind. So the expert horseman, he knows how to release the ropes a little bit, and then put a little restraint. So like that, we have desires that you could almost take like a strategic fulfillment of desires, and the ultimate objective to subdue the mind. But our problem is that it's like, okay, a little bit more, a little bit more, okay, a little bit more. And then the horses are not going too far and become ruined. So, and Brahma himself specifically, he's concerned about this. So one has to pray that, yes, I do have these desires. First of all, if they have no connection with the Supreme Lord, those desires should be, at least one may not ask for them. But then there are certain desires that are required for performing your service. And it's judicious you may pray to the Lord to fulfill certain desires that are conducive for satisfying the service. The only thing is that when those desires are like secondary desires to primary devotional service, they can get complicated. So one has to pray to the Supreme Lord for protection from those complications. Of course, as a matter of practicality, one has to also take shelter of devotees who can also help us navigate those particular desires. So I don't remember the full purport to the Karma Muni section. I haven't read that section in a while. So I can't really comment about that. This is a general point.
I just had a question as you're talking about this, if you could give some advice in a practical sense. You're talking about desire and how to subdue it. How can we develop a real, I find that my material desires are always conflicting with my spiritual desire, and even my desire to say, "Oh Krishna, help me," is a conflicted one, because in my heart I still know there's a side of me that's still saying, "Yeah, but I don't let it go."
Yeah.
And how can I create this genuine kind of, where I can feel at peace, that actually I'm at peace with my material desire, in the sense that it is subdued. It is subdued. How does one reach that natural, peaceful state where it's not a type of repression or negation that no, it's not there, no,
Well, I think the honest answer is I don't know, because I'm still conflicted, but what I personally do and always recommend is one should increase their hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the only solution, if you're asking me. I personally find no other solution. The advice of the Bhagavatam is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, which means we should hear Bhagavatam constantly, but because we're conditioned souls, that means daily for us. At least make a daily program. I personally, my observation, personally and vicariously, is that devotees don't take hearing so seriously. And certainly not as seriously as they take their japa, for example. We know no matter what, 60 rounds has to get done, even if it's midnight, and we're like, we will somehow try to get the japa done. Maybe the worst round ever also, but you finally get it, yes! And then you collapse. That is my experience, somehow because it's been impressed upon our minds that japa should be done. And Prabhupada himself has said, of all the instruction of the spiritual master, the instruction to chant 16 rounds is the most important. So our community has done very well to communicate the importance of chanting. And in recent time, with the upsurge of the kirtan culture, the kirtan melas and sadhu sangha, everyone is starting to realize the importance of kirtan. But hearing has lost its place of dignity in our movement to some degree. Maybe I'm not having the full picture, but it's just a personal observation. That hearing has lost its place of dignity. And I feel that that's where we get a lot of our shelter, actually. There's this one beautiful verse in 1st Canto, chapter 15. Arjuna is praying to Krishna. He's suffering from the separation from Krishna. His heart is burning. And then he said at the end of his prayers that now my mind is turning to that Bhagavad Gita, that literature that you spoke on the battlefield, because it is impregnated with instruction that removes the heat in the heart. And it's such a beautiful verse. Even when we were non-devotees, when you were like kind of down and out, personally, when I was down and out, I would put on some Lauryn Hill or some Nina Simone, and go into ecstasy, of the dim reflection, the actual ecstasy. So similarly, these songs of Godhead, even the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they're relieving the living entities in this world by showering down upon them the songs of Govinda. And so my personal conviction is that this hearing should be more, it should increase. And hearing, you will find all the shelter you're looking for. Yes.
I just want to, continue that comment, because it's very beautiful, thank you. And just in my own realization, if I think about my own situation, often I find sometimes when I'm chanting, the material desire I'm struggling with comes to my mind even stronger sometimes, and I'm like in this battle of focus on Krishna. My material desire is there. Okay, how do I be peaceful with it? And it's there. And then the times that I do take the opportunity to listen, even through any means, it soothes, it somehow soothes everything. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank
It
you
is
for
the
helping
nectar.
to-
Tavakatamritam tatta jivana. The nectar of Harikata removes the affliction in the heart of the jivas. So thank you all for tolerating me this morning, especially the SnB devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Jagannath Prabhu.